Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Daryl Show Your Work. And we're back in AWS again. And I'll be doing quite a few things in this episode, mainly focusing on identity and access management. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing in this video here is I'm going to create a IAM role, and then I'm going to create a S3 bucket that falls outside the compliancy of my fictional organization's security policies. So then what I'll do then after that is actually create a configuration or rule that then actually has what those compliances are, and then I'm going to a remediation, automate a remediation for that, and we're going to test out that remediation. So the first thing I need to do is I actually need to create the role for this. So in order to do that, I'm going to go up here to my search bar and I'm going to type in IAM for access and identity management. All right, so I'm choosing that. All right, so over here on the left, I'm going to choose roles. And to the upper right here, I'm going to click the create role button. All right, so we're going to leave this the same as far as trusted entity type, but under use case, I am going to search for and choose systems manager. All right, so here that is. All right, I'm going to leave that the way it is. I'm going to click next. All right, so I'm going to search for, in this particular category, I'm going to search for, as far as the type of role that what type of permissions we want to give ourselves. I'm going to say Amazon SSM. All right, and I'm going to give myself right here this Amazon SSM automation role permissions. All right, so I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to expand this set permissions boundary. All right, and then I'm going to click the second option right here that says use a permissions boundary to control the maximum of role permissions. All right, and I'm going to choose the boundary here, and then from here I am going to type something that I already have pre-made here, LabSecureAccess. So I'm going to choose that. All right, so I should be good to go from here, and then I have to actually name this role. So I am going to call this role Amazon SSM automation role. All right, so we should be good to go. So just to give a high level overview of what I just did here, I created a new identity and access managed role, created Amazon SSM automation role, and that's using the systems manager use case, and the Amazon M automation role policy, and the lab secure access permission boundary. All right, so I basically just assigned this role some pre established rules here. All right, and we can see that down here as far as those are permissions policies and boundaries policies. All right, so I'm going to create the role. All right. So now I'm gonna select this role. All right. So here under permissions policies, I'm going to choose to add permissions, and then I want to go to create inline policy. Create inline policy. All right. So under select the service that I want to assign this policy to, I'm going to choose the S3. All right, and then I'm going to expand here the well first I'm sorry, but first as far as actions allowed, I'm going to leave everything the same here, but going down here to list, I'm going to just check off all list actions, and then under permissions management, all permissions management actions. All right, and scrolling down here to resources, I'm going to choose all. All right, and then I'm gonna hit next. All right, so just verifying everything that I did here. Let's see, I have to name this policy, so I'm going to call it S3 manage permissions. All right, and these are the permissions I'm adding to I'm adding to this role when it comes to S3 buckets. All right, so I'm going to create the policy. And I'm sorry, I meant to give a high level definition of what the S3 what an S3 bucket is. So a simple storage service, that's what S3 is short for. It's for storing objects which are like files, images, documents, and videos. So think of it as such as like AWS's file directory. Look at it in terms of that. All right. So and I'm setting permissions according to what this role can or cannot do um, um, with that particular service. All right. So just again, giving a high level definition of what I just did here. So I created an inline policy named S3 manage permissions for the Amazon SSM automation role. And then I configured the policy to follow excuse me, to allow list and permission management access to all S3 resources. All right, so now we want to actually create our S3 bucket. All right, so to begin doing that, I'm going to go back up here to this search bar. I'm going to say, oops, S3. I'm going to choose that from here. All right. All right, so I'm going to click create button right here. Excuse me, create bucket right here. The create bucket button. All right, so I'm going to leave it under, as far as bucket type, leave it as general purpose bucket. And I'm going to name this test bucket. And similar to my last video, I'm going to say dash and just name it after my user ID here at the top. So I'm going to say 561477847. All right, so that's the name of my bucket. All right. And then the next thing I want to do is so we will again. So like I said in the beginning of the video, we want to create this bucket so it falls outside of the compliancy of the fictional organization I work for. So um, we generally we want to block all public access to this particular S3 bucket. All right, but I'm going to unselect that when creating this S3 bucket. And we're gonna create some automation rules here that's going to fix that. All right, but for right now, when creating it, I'm going to allow all public access to this S3 bucket. And then I'm going to click this acknowledgement here. Let this basic AWS let me know that, hey, let me know what I did and make sure that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm telling it, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to hit create bucket. All right, so we see here that my test bucket here is made. So now I want to go and create the AWS configuration rule that enforces my company's security policy when it comes to blocking all public access to the type of S3 bucket um, that this is. All right, so in order to do that, I'm just going to go back up here to the top in the search bar and type in config. All right, AWS config will show up. I'm going to select that. Oh, one thing I need to do. Let me go back. Actually, let's see. Do I need to do that? Let's see. I might be okay. 'Cause I know there's something I'm going to need later on as far as that S3. Let me see. I think I may have already pasted that down here. Give me a moment. 'Cause I know I have to actually need that S3 bucket ID in order to set some of these configurations. But let me double check. I think I may have already have that already written down before starting it. Let's see. Um, okay, I think I have to. I think I'll get it after this step. Okay. So, all right, so back to what I was doing. I'm going to go to click setup. All right, so since this is a one click setup, all I need to do is confirm. And this is going to take me to the configuration dashboard. All right. So I want to over here in the configuration dashboard, I'm going to select rules over here on the left. All right. So we don't have any rules set up here yet. So I'm going to add a new rule over here on the right. All right. So we're going to list, as far as rule type, we're going to leave it as add AWS managed rule. All right. So the managed rule that I want to use here, I'm going to look up something called, let's see, S3. As soon as my lab catches up with what I'm typing, let me give it a moment here. Okay. So S3 dash bucket. Let me see, and it's level. There we go. Okay, S3 bucket level public access prohibited. So this is a automated rule that basically is going to fix that. So where I have right now my S3 bucket, where I have it as all all public access is enabled to view and interact with that S3 bucket. I'm now going to set an automated rule to, and I'm going to assign it to that particular S3 bucket to basically to override what I set there by default. All right, which is to allow all public access, and this is going to block all public access. All right, so I'm going to select this. All right. So I'm going to go to next. All right, just verifying everything I have here. This is the actual rule name. All right. Checking everything here. Go to next. All right. And I'm going to save this. All right. So this rule, I'm going to save this rule here. All right. So again, to give a high level overview of what I just did here. So basically, this S3 bucket level public access prohibited rule will evaluate the current state of my S3 bucket in the AWS account. What it will not do, it will not remediate any of the issues. So we need to be able to then set some remediation actions. All right. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back over here to rules. All right. And then I'm going to select this rule. Now I'm going to go to actions and I'm going to go to manage remediation. All right. Give me one quick moment here to see if I could find that ID here that I need to enter in. This is where I need to enter in that S3 bucket ID. And I may have to go all the way back to S3 to get it. Matter of fact, let me just do that. Type in S3. I was trying not to do that because of how slow everything is on my system here, but I don't know. I figured maybe this will be faster than me just trying to look for all that information that I have here down here for myself, and not take a lot more of you all's time looking for that stuff and just finding it here where it should be here in the in AWS. Let me see. All right, let's click on that. I think it might be actually the automation. Yeah, let me see. Let's go back. Go back. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's in. Okay, it's in. Okay, no, it's in the access identity management. As far as the ID that I need. Okay, then I'm gonna go back over here to roles. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on this our automation role here that I created earlier. Okay, bam. Here's what I need, the ARN. All right, so this is basically the ID for this Amazon automation role. All right, so now that I have that, now let's go back. All right. Okay, now we're back in config. Okay, sorry about that hold up. I knew there was an ID that I needed. Wasn't sure if it was the S3 bucket ID or the role ID, but it ended up being a role ID that I needed here. It's very lengthy and very hard to memorize, so thought I had it written down here on my end, but apparently not. Okay. All right. So while I have this, I'm going to expand parameters. Well, there's some things I need to do here before I can do that. Okay. So um, under remediation action, I'm going to choose automatic remediation since we want to automate this. And as far as remediation actions, all right, I'm going to say, let's see, it is under what I'm looking for. Um, let's see, it's, I believe it's AWS config remediation. Then it's configure. Okay. All right. So there's to be careful because I got hung up on this prior, and it's easy to get hung up on this. So there's two very similar looking remediation actions that we can choose. So you can either choose configure S3 public access block or configure S3 public bucket public access block. And it's very easy to get confused between the two, but we want to specifically block public access to the bucket and not to the whole S3. So S3, think full directory level, bucket, think like a particular folder within a directory level. So I want to block this particular folder and not the whole directory itself. All right, so I'm going to choose the S3 bucket public access block. All right, here's now where I would start to enter in those parameters. So I'm scroll down here to parameters. So I'm going to paste that role ID here under automation assume role, and that's why I give it that Amazon SSM automation role ID. All right, And then I want to give it the bucket name. So remember the bucket name is test bucket dash, and that my user ID is, which is 56147847. All right. So everything looks good here. All right. Make sure I got the right remediation action. I do. All right. So I'm going to save. All right. So this is the page that has everything, the configuration set up. All right, so already that we can see that this is working because we see the bucket that I created here, and we can see here that as far as compliancy, that it has been labeled as far as, or it has been pulled as far as being non-compliant. So we know that this rule is actually this configuration rule is actually working. Now we need to test the remediation of it. So I'm going to select this radio box right here, and I'm going to click remediate. All right, and let's look at the status. All right, so action execution queued. So we let's give it like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to remediate this, because if we do this if we do it too fast, it'll fail. All right, so we got to give it maybe a couple of minutes here, and then after a couple of minutes, I'm going to hit this reload, this refresh button, and if it did work, this should be gone. So about one more minute. Okay. So I'm gonna hit this refresh button and let's see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't fail. I didn't do this prematurely. Good. Looks like I didn't. Okay. So that's disappeared. So one thing we want to do just to verify that that this is working, and that this is going to continue to work, a couple of things. The first thing that I could do is I could reevaluate this role, okay? And let's reevaluate it. All right, and then I'm going to hit reload. I'm reload the page, and again, if it stays gone, then that means that it's working. If it comes back, that means something is wrong, and it should not come back as non-compliant. But we just want to make sure that it's compliant, and when the whole process is ran again, as far as it automatically runs by itself, that it stays gone. It doesn't flag it as being non-compliant anymore. And good, it looks like it's not appearing anymore. All right, so the second thing we could do to verify it is that we could actually go and check the settings of the S3 bucket itself. All right, so in order to do that, I'm waiting for the search bar here to load at the top. Well, let me see. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Type in S3. And go into the S3 selection here. All right, give it a couple seconds here to populate that my S3 bucket. All right, so clicking on test bucket, which is the S3 bucket that I previously made. All right, so going under permissions. All right, so we can see now that, remember when I originally made this bucket, I unchecked block all public access. Now we can see it's back on, and it's back on because of that configuration rule that I created, and that remediation setting that I set in it to automatically remediate it. And so that's a way that we can use tools here in AWS to find uh, S3 buckets, or in this case, a S3 buckets, or any sort of resource that we have that's not necessarily in compliance with any sort of configuration rules that we set, and we can remediate those automatically using that AWS config remediation feature. All right, and that brings me to the end of my video. So just to give a high level overview of what I did here. So I first created an IAM role for automation. All right, and then I created a non-compliant S3 bucket, which allowed all public access to that S3 bucket, which my company, or my fictional company, does not allow. And then I created a AWS configuration rule, which basically detects that sort of lack of non-compliancy. And then I set a remediation action in that rule, and then tied it to the S3 bucket and the role that I created earlier. And excuse me, and it was able to automatically remediate those issues, and turn that block all public access feature on. All right, so please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, God bless, and take care of yourselves.